Do you feel that you have too many subjects and you can't handle them all? Well, don't worry, because I have been in that situation as well, and I have figured out how to actually improve your grades with a lot of subjects. Last year, I took around 5 extra courses on top of my actual schoolwork, and I aced them all, only studying around 1 to 2 hours each day using this framework that I will show you in this video. Tip number 3 is actually my favorite tip, and it involves music. So I want you to stick around to the end because that's where the actual magic is happening. So for you to actually understand this, please have pen and paper ready so you can take notes whenever you feel I say something valuable, because it's proven that when you actually note things down, you remember them much better, and I think you will get a lot of use from this information. And also, if you want, watch it at 2x the speed, because you probably don't have much time because you're a student, so might as well just half the time read. First up, let's talk about interleaving. This fancy term saved my grades. And instead of just studying one subject for a bunch of hours, which is pretty similar to watching paint dry, instead, you actually switch subjects hour from hour. So I started by mixing different topics into each study session. And here's how it works. So let's say you have math, history, and geography. Don't spend a whole day with just math or history. Instead, study all of them, but you study them different lengths and you switch up between them. I have talked before about chunking, where you break tasks into smaller pieces, and this is pretty similar, but you break up the subjects and you mix them around so you get this new sort of feel and you don't get bored out, because if you're bored you have a hard time to actually learn. For example, today during the morning I started by doing an hour of math revision, and then I have a history exam on Friday, so I started an hour for that. Then after I did some science work for around an hour. So I studied for 3 hours, but I mixed it up so it didn't get that boring. And the best thing is that you don't get this tiredness that you would actually if you just did maths, for example, because different subjects actually work on different parts of your brain, so you're not just totally fried after 3 hours of studying, which is great if you want to keep your energy levels high. Moving on to tip number 2, getting your life organized. And by organized I mean study-wise. I used to think that I had a good study schedule and study organization, but I was completely wrong. My organization was just throwing a bunch of papers into random folders and just scribbling through and finding them after a while, and that was my organization. So I watched some of the best performers in my class, and I saw that all of them have specific books and a specific way of organizing their notes to actually become more effective. So I want you to get physical folders for every subject that you have, and yes, physical folders. And within that I want to have dividers for every subtopic. And this may sound overkill, but hear me out. So I created a master spreadsheet where I listed all of my subtopics and things that I needed to study and all the material. It was kind of like a study dashboard. Then I color-coded each topic and each subject with green or red. With green being I got this, I don't need to study that much, and red being I need to study this right now. And this visual map showed it where I needed to put my focus, because you can't do guessing games when you are trying to reach the best grades in school. That won't work. Plus, if you have past papers and notes, and if you have all of them organized, it will be so easy to just bring them up and start to revise. Let me know if you want an actual video going in depth on how I created my second brain and my dashboard, and I will create it. Okay, so now that you know about interleaving and being organized, I want to talk about how to create a study schedule. If you follow my Instagram, you know that I post a lot of study schedules that you can use, but the best thing is to create your own. When it comes to too many subjects, the best way to solve that is to create a study schedule where you plan out each subject and the time you allocate to actually study for it. But don't try to do them all at once. Break each subject up into smaller groups and then plan to study some of these groups each day, so you get a good mix of things. And of course, if you have some subjects that are more heavy, you will do more studying on those, but you want to mix it up anyway. A good example is, let's say you have 9 subjects. Then you can plan to study 3 subjects each day for 3 days, and then repeat, and then have 1 rest day each week. On the first day you might study math, English and physics, and on the second day you might study geography, economics and chemistry, and on the third day you might do arts, music and physical improvement. But it doesn't really matter how it is sorted as long as you just mix it up. And of course you want to have a rest day each week. Mixing different kinds of subjects each day is not only good for memory retention, but it helps you not to get tired from just studying the same and the same and the same each day. It's like doing 2 different exercises. You can run the first day and you can do strength training the second day, and it's much easier than running 2 days in a row or doing strength training 2 days in a row. This variety keeps your study sessions engaging, but you also get less tired. So it's a win-win situation, really. So try to create a straightforward study schedule or a study plan. Spread out your subjects to give your brain a good boost from tiredness, and so that you boost your memory retention as well. But between these groups you need to have break, because they are what actually fuels you. If I were to recommend a method you should start with, then I would recommend this method. But let's talk about the last tip, which is why you are probably staying here, the one about music. The real game changer for me was mixing music within my studies. Imagine studying different subjects each day, but they all have one different twist to them, and that is adding music to each topic that you study. And for each subject we want the music to be different. It should be a different genre. It could be like blues for math, it could be jazz for geography, or anything similar like that, so that you connect this music type to that actual subject. And this isn't just drowning out your silence, it is more about that connection, and that it's fun to actually listen to music, at least in my opinion. Music can lift your mood and help you absorb things much better. I paired my subjects with music a few years ago, and since then I have seen a tremendous success, and it's so much more fun to actually study with music. Otherwise it's so quiet. So just try it. Try to mix in some music to your study routine. You can start with just one subject, and then you have one type of music which you start with, and then you just keep going on that if you actually like it, because it's a hit or miss. You will probably love it or you will hate it. But for me it makes studying so much more fun and effective. And that's it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and comment if you want any more tips, and I will be glad to answer your questions. Now I got to go and study for my own exams. Peace.